Yeah, so
Oh,
what were we talking about? Hey
the
guys,
ban list
welcome
and
back to
why
the
you're
to
for it.
to the Magic Guys podcast. We're gonna be talking about the ban list.
No, we're not.
Mox Opal, it got banned. So did Treasure Valley.
What?
We're gonna be talking about that and more.
What ban list are you on? Like,
I,
what?
I don't know. Dude, it confuses me so much why dockside of like all the cards was banned.
I
Because
don't. Dockside actually gets me. That I mean, not
that's the
really,
thing that
because
gave red speed though. Like I feel
well,
like that's what you were
I
saying
mean,
earlier.
so
Like now
for
my
red,
Valgavoth
you have
CDH deck is
dockside.
dead. Hey, Orion, just popping in to say a few things. One, um, I mean, my opinion's still pretty much the same here, but I did just want to add a little bit of like counterweight to what we're saying here. And that's, I mean, one, I kind of get where like a lot of people are saying that this kind of shakes up the meta. This provides something a little bit like fun and exciting to the meta. And actually, I do kind of get that. Meta shakeups are really fun. I still think, as we'll get into this in the video, it probably will end up making the meta a little bit more narrow in the long run and really shutting out stuff like Rakdos and really anything that like relied on dockside or even, Jeweled Lotus, those more expensive commanders. But I still think meta shakeup isn't necessarily unwarranted. Also the Nadu ban, totally. I think everybody's on board with that one. The other thing is, what the fuck is the deal with all the death threats? Like why is that even a thing? Like why are people being so ridiculous about it? Me and Jake joke later in the video about it. I think at the time I didn't realize that it was actually that bad. I didn't realize like that people are like actually like threatening people and doxing them. So like that's pretty stupid. And on that, like what the hell, guys? Besides that though, I still think the bans are definitely unwarranted and should not have been handled this way. There should have at least been like reprints over the years. These cards probably shouldn't have even been made in the first place. The fact that we got to the point to where dockside was $80 is kind of stupid. If it was $8, I think people would be a lot more chill. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say here.
Well, yeah, you have. Well, it's also like Valgavoth got screwed because you're in Rakdos and you have no mana,
Yeah,
and your
but that's the
access to
thing.
mana was
Was dockside?
well, it was Dockside. It was Jeweled Lotus Crypt changed your turn one or turn two or turn three
It,
Valgavoth, and then now without having
yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's just it's not there. Like you just it's not there anymore, which really sucks because I don't know. You just like so Rakdos is pretty well out of the format now.
Yeah, yeah.
Naya's pretty well out of the format. Gruul's pretty well out of the format. Teamer's not quite there, but it's pretty close. The
Oh
only thing
man,
that, like, I guess you could say kind of comes from this is that, like, we're going to start seeing a lot more Demir decks, a lot more Esper decks. Not
that
Tivit. Tivit's
sucks.
also dead. Any commander that's 5 CMC or more is gone.
Yeah,
Um, Sisay sucks now. Najila sucks now. Tivit sucks now. Atraxa, Kenrith, Atali, they're all bad. Malcolm
mm.
himself is pretty bad now, no
Dude,
matter
that's
what
like the
people want
whole
to say.
meta though. Like,
Well, yeah. So the 3 cards they got rid of screwed
so many
all of the
decks.
the tier S commanders, and a lot of the tier B commanders. So now you're going to still sit with all these like Rogsai and Tim the Crom aren't going anywhere. It's just going to make it harder to compete with them now.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, doesn't this just make the meta more narrow?
Yeah, 100%. It makes it like, I mean, we're gonna lose out on a lot of your fringe decks. A lot of newer people getting into the game are just not going to be able to get into the game because I get it. They banned 3 like more expensive cards, but you're also cutting out like the monocolored decks that are the easiest to get into. These like
Do
creature
you think this
decks that
affects
are
casual?
heck
Are you
no. No
purely
one.
talking about CDH right now when you're talking about
I'm
this?
talking about CEDH because
Okay, yeah.
casual doesn't play these cards, and that's what the ban
Well,
committee were like. Oh, they play them. No, they don't. Like,
yeah.
there's
Well,
not a
that,
single
honestly,
casual table that runs all of these cards.
I don't know if this is a stupid idea or not. I want you to tell me if it is, because like, come in with like the perspective of like, I've been playing this game for like a few months now. Not nearly as long as you. So what if like I don't know. Like I know. I mean, first off, Commander isn't even recognized as an official format, right? Like
Not by Wizards of the Coast.
not,
It
but
is
it's
the
kind
most
of right.
popular format,
It's
and
the
it
most
makes the
popular.
most money,
It makes the most
but it
money.
is not
Well, what if
a
like I just feel like
commercial
maybe
format.
Commander, like Casual, and cEDH should just be two different formats with different ban lists? Like, is that kind of stupid?
Uh, the idea of Splinter has been discussed for quite a while.
Like, actually, just like
I
Wizards of the Coast got dockside.
Oh my God, my poor
Yeah, it's sad,
baby's
isn't it?
gone. I can't
Can
win the
you send me
game
that photo?
anymore.
Can you send me that photo in Discord of the guy with like the 20 docksides?
Dude, I felt so bad for that
That's
guy.
so
Oh my
awful.
gosh.
That's so. Oh my god.
When he posted about that, I was like, my poor boy. Like, I don't even know you. And I didn't know, like, he lost so much money.
Well, okay. To like
But
continue what I was saying, I mean, what do you think? Like, do you think splintering is a bad idea or a good idea?
it's very difficult because it comes down to, I probably won't explain this very well. And actually, I was talking to someone in the Discord about it earlier today. Is like, if you to separate cEDH and EDH, then cEDH is no longer EDH because cEDH is basically it is EDH. It is Commander at maximum power. So if you separate their ban list, separate the format, make it official, then
Yeah.
it's no longer cEDH. It's the same format, but no matter what people say, it's not going to have the same feelings. They're going to have a separate ban list. You're going to end up losing cards you didn't want to lose anyways. It doesn't matter like what you do.
Yeah.
You're not ever like, for one, no one's ever going to be fully happy.
Yeah. I mean,
I,
that's the
for one,
unfortunate
don't.
part.
I don't agree with a ban list in general. I may say that differently if I got to play Rule Zero and had all the different ban cards, but like in
Yeah.
this moment, I don't agree with a ban list. I think ban list. I think Rule Zero is a big question. I think talking with your friend group. I think local metas, local tournaments have a big thing to do with it. I don't think 5 people that strictly play casual
It's
and
only
that don't
five
have a
people
clue.
on the like
Yeah, it's
ban
five
list
people.
council. That's crazy. That's
The
wild.
the ban committee is 5 people,
I feel
and
like it
of those
shouldn't be
five, none of
five
them
people.
play competitive. They're all casual
Then why
players,
did
and
they?
most of them,
Oh my god.
yeah. And that's who's in charge of what happens to Magic is
That's
5 people that don't come play competitive. And I
that
think you
is
should
wild.
have like 7 people
At least,
and at
you
least try
should
to make.
definitely have more.
Well, I would say 7 people and make it where like 3 of them. Um, I don't know, maybe like 3 of them are competitive players and like actually try to work on that and try to make it where,
Yeah, that's some CDH
you know,
representation.
well, yeah, like that's how I feel. But they didn't ask me.
Yeah.
Shocking, I know,
Well, they might
but
still. So keep holding out.
not with the death threats I've sent.
Well, I mean that might just get you there. They might like see those death threats and be like, yeah, this guy's got talent. Let's get him on this board.
This
He told me to like
this
eat a snake.
guy's
Yeah, let's do
got
it.
this guy's got talent. Huh? This America's Got Talent, but like for the people that are
But
gonna get
death
arrested
threats.
for yeah.
My next question to you, oh great sage of knowledge, is how's
I'm
the meta
not.
like going to be impacted by this? Do you think? Like, what do you like? Obviously, a bunch of decks just got like completely made obscure, or like just made like obsolete. That's the word I'm looking for. But do you think any decks are going to
Um,
benefit?
100%. Like Kennen, 100% benefits from this. Kennen only lost Mana Crypt. It lost out on 3 mana. Kennen is the biggest mana producing
Yeah.
card in the format. It has been for a while, but it just got slower. And when the meta got faster, Kennen couldn't keep up because Kennen's a very mid-rangey deck. It wants to win in the late game. It wants to pick its fights. It wants to get some like
Yeah.
value creatures out there. Light stacks pieces by like Voidwind. Wondering like, hey, it plays a lot of non-competitive creatures, and it gives those places a home.
That's
And
pretty nice, actually.
oh, it's great, except like it's there's no except nothing. Kennen's benefited a lot. Rogsai, which was already the fastest deck in the format, in my opinion. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm wrong, and someone will disagree, but I think it was the fastest deck in the format. It was widely known as the fastest deck in the format.
What is Rogside? How
And
do you spell that?
Rograk, I have no clue how you spell that. I
Oh,
spelled it wrong
Rograk.
earlier.
And then who's the Silas?
Silas, the one we were
The
talking about
deck you were
earlier.
talking about. Oh, wait, that's a fast deck?
Well, so that's what I was telling you. Like when you don't understand the deck, like,
No.
and
I mean,
that
it
wasn't
is
like
like,
that wasn't like a sniff at you or like a call or nothing. Like it's if Rogside is one of those decks that if you're not in the format and you don't play it, then you're not going to know what it does. I mean, there's nothing wrong against that. It's just
I mean, you read the commander information, and I'm. It looks like a
well,
shitty
yeah.
deck,
So
honestly.
Rograth gives
It's Rograk, by the way. You keep
access.
saying TH.
You know what? You don't have a dad. No. Anyway.
How dare you?
No, so Rograk gives access to like Infernal Plunge, which you sacrifice a creature to add 3 red.
Oh,
Culling the Weak, sacrifice a creature, add
yeah,
4 black. Mox Amber immediately turns that on just because Will activates that.
oh
Deadly
shit,
Rollick, Deflecting
yeah.
Swat.
You got
It
it,
gives you
actually.
access to like what is the red one where you sacrifice a non-token creature and copy it, the new one? It gives you access to that.
Mm.
It gives access to a lot of, so it allows the deck to go super fast. It
Yeah.
allows you to that's its whole point, is you just go boom 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 boom, and there's not much that like a lot of people are supposed to be able to do about it because you're moving faster than the other decks. That's the whole point of a turbo deck. You're trying to turbo out a card called Ad Nauseam, which is you reveal cards, lose life equal to its mana value, and you can repeat the process as many times as you like.
Yeah.
It's a crazy card. It's
I'm
super
familiar with
good.
that one.
So Rograk Silas just made that card super good. It made it like super competitive. It was an amazing deck. I think it still stayed pretty well the same. I don't think it's going
You don't
anywhere.
think it's...
It lost out. Well, no, because you didn't really even run Jeweled Lotus as is. You do lose out on Dockside and Crypt, which is like really big mana hitters later on after you add Naz and you're low on life, but not to a point that it's going to be like. I don't think it ever did enough to actually screw with Rogside. Timnacrom lost out on its turn 1 Croms and its turn 1 Timnas through Jeweled Lotus and Crypt.
Yeah.
Which is, depending on your build, and I've only played the deck for like maybe a month and then took it apart, and I've only played it against it here recently, so I'm not a master of it, but it's definitely like it's a very grindy deck. It wants to sit there and like do whatever it wants to. It wants to control the board. It wants to control when people do things and how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And amazing deck, but it lost out on like Dockside Loops, which it didn't really run. A few lists I feel like probably did. It wasn't the best in there, but it still lost out on it. But its big one was Jeweled Lotus and Crypt, because like I said, that turns off turn 1 commanders, and when you're in Timnacrom, you want to be getting your commanders out, you want to be attacking, you want to be getting the card value.
Like the whole thing.
And they can't do that anymore. It still has the best colors. The commanders never really mattered, and really the pilots aren't any good. The deck's an autopilot deck. You don't have to be good to play it.
Yeah.
And if anyone disagrees with me on that, that means you're bad at Magic. But yeah, I don't really know. Those are the big 3 that benefited a lot.
Yeah.
Enchantment decks and other artifact decks are going to be able to get to come back again.
Does that mean Master of Keys, that new Duskmourn, is going to be pretty good then?
I think Master of Keys is going to be an amazing deck. It's going to be a big contender. It's going to be doing a lot of damage. I still think like Malcolm Timna is going to be better, and I think maybe Zur will be better. I could be wrong. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just I
guess time will
I
tell.
feel like Zur's. Yeah, but it's such a good deck, and it gives blue and white just so much access to the graveyard, which we had access to, but it was access through red and access through black already, which is what we're already dealing with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's gonna be really. I'm a little excited. I'm actually putting together 10 Nethrasios right now because it doesn't play any of those. It would play Crypt, but it's not going to. So
I
I'm
wonder
excited
why.
to see how it plays. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm excited
Wait.
to see how it plays.
Why won't it play Crypt? What happened with Mana Crypt?
Oh yeah, so I don't know if you've heard, but it actually got banned. It
Oh
got
my
booted.
God,
It got
really? That's
yeah.
great.
What?
I do it does make me wonder though. I wonder who is like happy about this.
All the casuals that suck at Magic, all the people that don't want to proxy cards, but they can't get the real ones through
But
whatever means.
I just feel like it's still because I just feel like for a lot of these casual players, like I mean, I guess it sucks to be shat on by like a super like high power kind of almost in a way pay to win type of deck to where like you can't you're playing a $40 deck against a $5,000 deck. Obviously, you're not going to win. But also like I feel like those matchups don't happen that often, right? Like, am I wrong about that?
You're always gonna have that one guy at a local LGS. You're
It's not
always
like a
gonna have the
power
one
trip, I
person.
guess, but
Well, yeah, you're always gonna
you just
have
don't play
that,
with them.
and well, that's how I feel. You're never gonna get away from that, no matter what people want to say, no matter how they want to act. You're
Yeah.
never gonna get away with that. That person's always gonna be there. You're always gonna end up being that person. You're always gonna end up. I mean, well, no, it's gonna happen. It happens to me even with my competitive decks. They'll be like, "Hey, let's play a CDH game." I'll be like, "Okay," and then even my own CDH deck gets
Just
completely
get
blown
shit
out of the
on.
water.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
because sometimes it's just gonna happen. Like, I
And
mean,
I'm yeah.
I'm sorry. It's how the game works. It's how all levels of competitive works. I mean, look at all
I was about
sports.
to say
Look
if
at
they want, well, also
well, like look at
if they
chess.
want it to
Look
be
at
so,
poker.
if they want it to be so balanced, like they have so many more expensive cards to ban. Then like they have so many more like so many other mana
Well,
rocks
that's
and
what
so many other
I
like
feel like.
things that they can get rid
And
of. Like I feel like it's just
gosh,
too
this
late to try
is
to slow down the format.
well, that's we were already in a turbo meta.
Yeah,
Um, all these like mid-rangey decks were getting blown out. Kennen was getting blown out, and then now a lot of these decks are going to get to come back. But at the same time, like the meta didn't really change that much. The fast decks are still going to go fast. The slow decks are still going to go slow. If you suck at Magic, you're still going to suck at Magic. I'm sorry, 4 cards are not going to change that. You're not going to
yeah.
become a better deck
That's
builder. You're not going to
that doesn't change any of
like
that.
yeah, no, as much as people want to be like, oh, if these cards are banned, I would win so much more. No. And if you're getting blown out by like your local LGS, then go to a different LGS or play online.
Yeah,
Like,
there's definitely options.
there's
Or
so
like
many
also,
options now.
I doubt there's any CDH players who only have CDH decks. I'm sure like there's
There's
like
there's gotta be a few, but I really doubt it's that high. Like I doubt it's, you know, like if you put 10 competitive players together, I'll bet you 8 of them have a casual deck. I mean, I
yeah,
do. I
you got multiple.
I prefer well, yeah, I prefer casual to high powered any day. Um, I just, I don't know. I think
I
it's
don't
really
know, man.
dumb.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
even
they're gonna
fully
get a lot of
understand it, and I think
backlash.
it's dumb.